when one of my friends at the time got into trouble, just by being associated in that kind of circle, you automatically get drawn into it, and yeah, obviously then that happened. That probably pushed me into thinking, you know, to do something on my own and away from any sort of friends or anything, and just looked at what businesses were already set up, and that's what made me look at the franchise model. And Subway obviously was popping up everywhere. I like the layout, so we kept that, but we just adapted it and decided to go down the pizza route. We found a second-hand oven, so that was about 10 grand. It was in a place called Rose Hill between Mitcham and Sutton, so it was a small parade of shops. It wasn't a massive shop, it wasn't a great location, but we had KFC next door, had the open fire so people can see it cooking. It worked well. There was no idea of franchising until one of the customers came in. He was a regular customer, and they saw this and they said, you know, would you be interested in franchising? So I said yeah, and within 6 months they opened the shop. That's when something clicked and said, all right, you know, maybe we've got something here. So we opened another store. So within the first year we had 3 stores. Last year we opened 41 stores. We've got 10 stores opening in the next 12 weeks. We've got stores in Portugal, Dubai, Turkey that are under construction like right now. We've got 155 stores. So I think realistically we can get to at least maybe 500 to 600 stores in the next 6-7 years. So I think start small. You don't need a crazy product. You need a crazy determination to make the product work, but you don't need to invent, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, but you do need to have a crazy passion for making that work.
Can't choose? Why not have everything? Fresh dough, Italian tomato sauce, 100% mozzarella and unlimited toppings? All fast fired from 180 seconds, you can hardly go wrong. Fireaway Pizza, delivered straight to your door. Fireaway Pizza. Design, fire, eat.
And for a 20% discount, use your KRNTV20 discount code. Link in description, guys. Yes, people, welcome back to KRNTV. Today, delighted to be with Mario Aleppo, the guy behind the amazing Fireaway Pizza brand. So, Mario, I'd like to say a big thank you for the opportunity. A huge congratulations.
Thank you.
And how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So, before we talk about where Fireaway is currently and the amazing success, I'd like to go back a little bit and talk about a little bit about your background. So, where did you grow up? Where did it all start? A little bit about family settings and schooling.
Yeah. So I grew up in South London, in Mitcham, and lived there till I was about 19, 20. So yeah, that's where I spent most of my my childhood. I went to school around there, and only recently, a few years ago, we moved out to Surrey.
And obviously, a name like Mario Aleppo, is it Aleppo? Is that
Yeah.
Of Italian roots?
Yeah, my mum's Italian. My grandma came over from Italy when she was about 18 on her own, and yeah, we've been here ever since.
Nice. And talk to me about the siblings, brothers, sisters.
2 younger brothers, 2 younger sisters, and my mum and dad split up when I was young, and yeah, we've just all been around South London.
And so, was it a happy childhood? Obviously, with so many siblings and stuff, must have been busy.
Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy household, but yeah, I can't complain, to be honest. Apart obviously from my mum and dad splitting up, can't really complain. It could have been a lot worse. Yeah,
of course. And so let's talk about school. How you did at school? What your ambitions were at school? Were you clever?
Not particularly. I didn't really. I wasn't a fan of school, so I hardly went in at first. It just wasn't my thing. I couldn't really pay attention too much, and I just didn't really enjoy it. The only thing I probably enjoyed was selling sweets in the playground. Apart from that, it was a bit of yeah, it was a bit of a bore.
Of course. And so, what were your ambitions and goals when you were at school? Did you have any sort of dream job? Was it music, sport?
First of all, I wanted to be a footballer, probably because of the money, because I'm not really a fan of football. So when I realised I wasn't good enough for that, I think it was mainly money orientated. So then I wanted to be like a solicitor, but that took way too much, intelligence. So yeah, I think by the time I left school, I was pretty confused as to what I was going to do. Hence why I didn't really do nothing for the next like few years. I went to college to do like a sports course, because I thought that would be the most easiest thing to do, more of a physical thing than a intelligence kind of path. And yeah, I dropped out of that after about a year. Done another college course, dropped out of that after about 9 months, and then yeah, just spent the next few years just not really doing anything productive.
So what were you doing during this time? Sort of bumming about your mates and such?
Yeah, just messing around,
drinking, smoking.
Yeah, nothing really. As I said, nothing really productive. And a few of my friends were in the same kind of position. There wasn't much opportunity at the time in. Well, not just in Mitcham, in anywhere, I think. There wasn't really much opportunity. So yeah, looking back at it now, I mean, time flies at the time, so you don't really realise. But looking back at it now, it was a considerable amount of time, maybe like 4 years of just messing around and getting into trouble with my friends. And then probably when I was 23 or 24, I decided... Well, I had a couple of jobs, one in Nando's, one as like a charity fundraiser on the street. But yeah, after a while, I decided to start my own business and open like a little coffee shop in Tooting in South London. But that really didn't really go to plan. Had a lot of my friends like hanging around outside, and it didn't really look great. So that failed after about 6 months.
So a lot of lessons learned from that business own?
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously how did it put you off owning your own business and even in the retail food sector?
No, it was hard, it was stressful, and because it was coffee, it was like an early morning thing, and I'm not really an early morning person, but I had to force myself to be there at like 6 o'clock every morning. So yeah, definitely it was definitely a learning curve, and a lesson on the very basics of business, without kind of jumping in to the deep end. It was kind of like it was a small setup. It was a small operation, like a one man. It was just me. I had some friends that helped, but yeah, it was a good. It only lasted 6 months, but I learned probably
a lot of valuable lessons, like you say, from the failure of it as such. And then, so from there, how long was it before obviously started up the Fireway? I know there was the consideration of the Subway franchise, something I've looked at as well at certain points.
Yeah.
And so, tell me how you started looking at the Subway, why you were looking at sort of franchise, and then obviously why you chose not to go down that path.
So after dropping out of college, probably at 19, I spent, as I said, about 4 years just doing nothing. And then 23, 24, done the coffee shop. Within 6 months that failed, and then spent probably another year not really doing anything, or kind of just planning and thinking about what to do. And then looked at...
Sorry to interject, didn't you have a sort of a little wake-up call during that year? Is that when you had the police raid? Obviously, I know you mentioned it wasn't anything to do with you, but surely that must have been a wake-up call when your house is getting raided for the company you're keeping.
Yeah, I think that's mainly it. I mean, if you hang around with certain people, then you're going to get associated with certain people. And I think when one of my friends at the time got into trouble, just by being associated in that kind of circle, you automatically get drawn into it. And obviously then that happened, and then that probably pushed me into thinking, to do something on my own and away from any sort of friends or anything, and just focus, on yourself, opposed to just focusing on a group of people. So looked at what was, because I still don't know what to do, I looked at what looked at what businesses were already set up, and that's what made me look at the franchise model. And Subway obviously was popping up everywhere. So I looked at that. It seemed like a simple thing, like sandwiches. Probably another reason why I looked at that. But then at the last minute, after having like the primary meetings with them, I decided, you know, it wasn't really the way for me, because it felt like not being back in school, but it did kind of feel like a job where you have to, you know, follow the rules, and you can't really divert and do your own sort of you can't add your own sort of creativity onto it, because it was a franchise. So yeah, I decided that wasn't really the route. But I like the idea. I like the Subway kind of layout, so we kept that, but we just adapted it and decided to go down the pizza route, being Italian, and with pizza being like a popular product.
You say we, but it was just you at this
Well,
point.
Yeah, me. So I decided that was, you know, worth a try, and yeah, it went well. I had a good response.
Indeed. So obviously, pizza's number one takeaway food in this country, isn't it? So it's kind of a no-brainer. And so, where did the name Faraway come from then? And talking about the sort of initial setting up the business.
Just because, you know, we decided again to add some unique. As you said, pizza is the most popular, you know, takeaway food in the UK, which on a positive side means there's a market for it, there's a lot of customers for it. On a negative side, it means that, you know, there's a lot of competition. So hence why we had to make it different. We had the Subway layout so people can see everything. Then we had the open fire so people can see it cooking, opposed to, you know, electric ovens that most pizza shops use. So we just went with that, you know, the fire, but the Subway, so fire away. And it worked well. Had a good response. It was hard, don't get me wrong, it was very hard. I was like the delivery driver, I was the manager, I wasn't the chef, but everything else, you know, I pretty much done it. So, but it kept me busy, kept me out of trouble. It was good.
So like you said, obviously it's a hugely competitive market, and obviously Domino's has sort of got it tapped up at the bottom end. And obviously in terms of their service and their marketing is just unbelievable in terms of how efficient they are getting to your door, all this sort of stuff.
100%. In my opinion, I think...
But the quality of the pizza in terms of the Domino's, I think, is low, the sort of American style pizza.
Yeah. I mean, some people like it. It doesn't give you a great feeling.
My boy loves it. Loads of people I know love it, but I'm not such a fan of it. I ate way too many of them, I think, as a kid, and so I prefer the much more Italian pizza. So were you trying to sort of go the slightly higher quality pizza with the
correct.
Oven? Yes.
Yeah. I think if you're going to do something, you've got to do it properly. I mean, their service, in my opinion, is 10/10, but the product is maybe like 6 or 7 out of 10. I don't recommend the product, but the service that they offer, it's like a machine.
100%. It's so efficient, it's unbelievable. And then obviously their marketing machine behind it is absolutely second to none, isn't it? It's,
obviously they've got a big budget for marketing.
Insane budget, because you just literally see it everywhere, don't you? Before Simpsons, before the football games, it's everywhere. You just can't avoid it, can you? So even if you get that hunger feeling, before you know it, you've seen an advert for Domino's, and even if you don't, you could be ordering them from there.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, the USP was just a higher quality food then. And were you sort of trying to base it on their Italian model as such?
Yeah, I mean, all the products come from Italy, the core products. So I probably go to Italy like twice a year. My family are there, like extended family. All the flour comes from there, specially made recipe made for us. So you can't go and buy the flour off the shelf. The tomatoes, again, ready mixed with like herbs, made to order for us. The olive oil, the desserts come from Sicily. So we've kept that, you know, authentic roots, because it'd be very easy to go and find a company around the corner that will supply it. But like I said, I think if you're going to do something, it's worth doing properly.
Absolutely.
And you need to do something to stand out from the competition. So I think, yeah, it's gone well.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. I was sort of, the Domino's, the produce and stuff like this, some of their meats and stuff like this, just don't seem great as such, do they?
No, I think, yeah, you can go, you have to find a balance between obviously the quality and the price. But I think we're pretty much at the same price point as them. but just at a better quality, in my opinion.
Absolutely. So you spoke about obviously setting it up in 2016. Where was your first store then? Was this on your doorstep, local to you initially?
It weren't in Mitcham, it was down the road. It was in a place called Rose Hill, between Mitcham and Sutton. So it was a small parade of shops. It wasn't a massive shop, it wasn't a great location, but we had KFC next door, so that brought quite a few people. So that's
what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
footfall.
yeah, there's, like I said, I interviewed Alfie Best before, and he said try and find the places next to the McDonald's, the Burger Kings, anything that's next to something that's popping.
Makes sense.
Even if it's the food place, if you're opening a food place, just open it next door. And
100%.
So, and obviously, was it a sort of instant success then?
I mean, I didn't really have anything to compare it to, but now looking back at it, I would say so, because a lot of people say, even in the banks, they say in your first year, don't expect to make any money. And I think in the first year we made maybe 20 grand profit, which wasn't a massive amount of money. But
that's really good. Like I said, they say even the first year we expect to make a lot. Second year, try and break even. So to make money was incredible first year.
So to look at it like that, it was good. But like I said, I was doing a lot of the work myself, so I didn't really have to pay those wages because I was doing the work myself. If I had to pay someone to do that job, then
probably would be that profit.
Yeah.
Okay, and talk to me about the initial cost then of setting up the first one then. How much that cost you? Obviously, I'm guessing ovens are extremely expensive.
We found a second-hand oven on, I think it was eBay, that came out of a restaurant. So that was about 10 grand, 10 grand. We got fridges, freezers. It's not like a massive setup. It's pretty much an oven and some fridges and freezers. So that came to around maybe 20 grand. So we're talking 6 years ago. So the price of like materials and that were less. I had some good friends of mine, some Polish guys, and they done the work for me, and they allowed me to pay them, monthly. So that was a big help. And then you've got the rent, which at the time was very reasonable. I think about £1,000 a month, £250 a week for a shop next to KFC. It wasn't bad at all. So in all, probably invested maybe, excluding the building cost, because obviously I paid for that monthly, maybe about 35 grand. So 25 grand was from HSBC as a loan, and the other like 15, 20 grand was savings. So at the time it seemed like it was all I had. So it was obviously, regardless how much something is, if it's all you've got, then it feels like a lot regardless of the amount. So it was a risk, but it paid off.
Absolutely. And so when you were looking at the Subway prior to starting up the Fireway, and then you decided against the Subway, you didn't think about the Domino's or
no,
too high cost?
Being like half Italian and having family in Italy, I don't think they would have ever spoke to me ever again if I opened a Domino's.
All the barbecue bases of it, yes. But okay, and so when you initially started up the Fireway as well, what was the goal or the end goal? Was it to get one store popping successfully, or was it? Did you always have the goal of getting a few stores?
No, it was just one. Once I was looking for something for myself, to have like a decent income, to be my own boss, to not have to, be told by someone else, what time to get there and that. So it was just for myself. There was no idea of franchising until one of the customers came in. He was a regular customer. It was a father and son, and they were about to open a Papa John's, from what they told me. And they saw this and they said, would you be interested in franchising? So I said, yeah. I was just happy that, someone wanted to, replicate what I had created. And I said, yeah. And within 6 months, they opened the shop about 20 minutes down the road in Streatham. And that was very successful, more successful than me. It was a father and son, and they were in there running it. They've got three stores now.
And that was the second store, was it?
That was the second store, yeah. So kind of learned as we went along. I think sometimes you just have to say yes and then learn later, opposed to, planning everything out. Because I think when you overthink things too much, that's when, your mind starts putting negativity onto certain things, and you may end up just doing nothing at all. So I think, that was a good decision. And they've got 3 stores now.
And so when you sort of, like I said, it came from sort of nowhere, it wasn't planned, the franchise thing. But when this sort of happened, did your goals change at all? Like I said, obviously initially you weren't even planning to have multiple stores, but then obviously when you saw that be a success, did you think, right, this is what I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to get this franchise thing out there, and that's the main model of the success of the business going forward?
Maybe I didn't have the confidence at the time to think about expanding, maybe, I don't know why, but it never crossed my mind. But then when this guy came in and said, we want to franchise it, and when I saw, that's when something clicked and I said, all right, maybe we've got something here. So we opened another store by another 6 months. So within the first year we had 3 stores.
And so you say you opened the third store. Was that your store? Was that another franchise?
No, that was the third store was ours. That was in Thornton Heath, in Croydon, near Croydon, Thornton Heath. So that was ours as well. And then it kind of became a bit difficult because obviously I had 2 stores. It was doable, don't get me wrong, but it was just a bit, for me, anything more than maybe 3 stores to run yourself would be challenging for me. But I mean, we've got guys that have got 7 stores now. They've got a team of people that run it and manage it, area managers, etc., etc. So it can definitely be done. I mean, I was speaking to a guy that's got 220 Dominoes. I don't know how he manages that, but he's pretty much built like an empire within an empire.
Yeah, one of the richest guys I know is owns all the Dominoes over my ways and that. Barbara Aldershot, Fleet, all that sort of.
Might be the same guy.
Makes so much money. It's incredible.
It's crazy, yeah. So it's I think franchising is I've definitely learned a lot by getting into this.
Absolutely. And so in terms of now, like you said, you're not looking to personally open any more stores. It is literally just a case of the franchise model now and expanding that. And so what do you still own the 3 stores yourself, or have you sold them off?
No, so one of them I gave to my cousin, and the other one I sold to one of the other franchisees, and we've got a flagship store now in Clapham High Street. Okay,
so that's the one store you own?
Yeah, that's the one store that me and my brother and sister, I got them involved, so that we own. Actually, that's the highest expense store out of all the 155 shops that we got. That one's got the highest expenses, so that comes to about, including rent and rates, it comes to about £8,000 a month.
No, but I'm sure obviously
but it's
it
Clapham
works.
High Street, yeah, so next to Nando's.
Is that one of your busiest?
That's one of the busiest, top 5. I would say it's number 5 out of the top. Top 5.
And over the last few years, the expansion has been absolutely incredible. How many stores do you own, or how many stores are franchised, or how many stores are there at this particular point?
155. So last year we opened
155. That's absolutely insane. Since 2016.
Yeah, 6 years. So last year we opened 41 stores in a year.
41 stores. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So massive congratulations again for that. It's absolutely fantastic.
Hasn't been easy, but I mean we got there.
Of course, 155 stores that you're sort of having some sort of management role in all of them as such. And talk to me about your franchise model then. How does it work? How much does it cost? What are the requirements you look at?
So the prices have increased over the past few years due to obviously inflation and the cost of goods going up. But right now,
and the success of your brand, surely.
Of course, yeah. So it all goes hand in hand. So right now, £150,000 to open a store. We got a finance company that can cover maybe 70% of it, depending on your personal situation.
And what do people get for that initial cost? Do they get?
So they get everything.
Store completely fit up with everything.
A to Z. So from the design to the build to the equipment to the signage to the training to the opening launch, basically everything from A to Z.
And then support once it starts going. Support. Is it always people on the phone? Are you always checking in sort of weekly with the?
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I'm in 155 WhatsApp groups, so you can imagine. But yeah, we've got a team of people that go out and maybe once every 5 or 6 weeks they'll pop into each store for the day and advise, support, help. I mean, you have to, isn't it? I mean, it's your name above the door. Although it's their business, Absolutely. It's your name above the door.
And what are the requirements you look at for a franchise?
I would say experience, but some of the top performing guys that we've got, not all of them, but some of them are the ones that have come with no experience in the food industry. But I mean, you need a willingness to work hard, and and to make things work. Because although it's a franchise, it's not a guaranteed, it's not a guaranteed operation. You're going to have to put in the work, and if you think that you're just going to pay £150,000 and then leave someone to run it, unfortunately you mistake.
Yeah, the business will sink quite quickly if you do that, and you get some bad people involved in it. And why do you think people should choose franchise? What's the benefit to choosing a franchise over to going on your own as such?
I think you don't have to waste time on putting together a menu, putting together a name, logo, marketing. You've got the blueprint there. You just have to push what is already there. And I mean, I can understand why people get into franchising, because you got that level. You got that. I would say maybe, what's the word? You got like maybe a safety net to some degree, and you've got other people in the same boat as you, opposed to you just trying to do everything on your own.
Absolutely. And in terms of, you said one of the major things that stopped you going into the subway was sort of the rigidness of it. Mm-hmm. How much flexibility do the franchisees have in terms of sort of menus?
Menu flexibility is limited. Discounts, offers, that's all down to them. Prices, we've got 2 price points, a high and a low, so they can choose that. In terms of marketing, they've got free reign as long as they stick within the brand guidelines. And it's impressive to see what some of them have done in terms of like local charity events and getting the brand out there. And the more shops that open, the more the brand awareness increases. We do marketing at head office on like a national level, but the stores are responsible for doing like local marketing.
Indeed. And so I know initially when you first started, you weren't supplying the produce to all the franchises.
No,
but now obviously you've taken that on and you do, which I'm sure is great for keeping the control, the consistency over naturally throughout the thing.
Yeah.
Obviously when people did it to start with and they signed up, they weren't required. Obviously they weren't using your produce. Now obviously is it a requirement that they have to use stuff in line?
They had to use approved suppliers. So basically we just are now the approved supplier. We used a very good Italian supplier in North London called Salvo. So the owner's a good friend of mine, and that's like top level produce, like direct from Italy, gets shipped in maybe 3 times a week from Italy, and anything you want from meats to cheeses. So they've got a ridiculous amount of products that you won't be able to find in the UK. Only in Italy. So we used them for the first 3 years because they had the structure for delivering all across the country where we didn't. But then it got to the point maybe in year 4 where we thought we've got year 4 maybe 70 stores and maybe less, maybe like 50-60 stores within year 4, and we said we need to take over this. So we got a warehouse not far from here in Kingston, and we just started supplying the goods. Within 6 months we outgrew that place. Luckily we found someone to take it over. A friend of mine, he's taken it over. He supplies Italian food as well, and we moved to Milton Keynes. Logistically it's in the middle of the country, so we can get to the whole country, and obviously it's a lot cheaper than London rent wise. But we've been there for a year and we're outgrowing that now. So we're looking for another place.
So obviously the business sort of the model and what you necessarily use is massively changed from obviously having the pizza shop initially to obviously now being a point with 155 stores, having to source all this produce, and the logistics of it must be crazy.
But I've got a good team.
So you've got a big warehouse, you must have a number of drivers out there, and then talk to me about the team, like you say, how many people you've got working for you.
It's a small team, but in terms of numbers, we've probably got 7 or 8 drivers, 7 or 8 people in the warehouse packing the stuff, and then maybe 8 or 9 people in the head office. So it's about just under 30 people. It's a small team, but they're extremely, hard working and strong. The guy that runs the distribution side of the warehouse, his name's Anis. He's been with us. He used to be a franchisee, and then he decided, he wanted to join the head office. So he's made massive improvements to the distribution side of the operation, and 155 stores all getting a delivery once a week is it's not an easy task. So they're doing a very good job.
Indeed, and so in terms of, like I say, you've got a good solid team there, but have you taken on any sort of major investors into the business as a whole as time's gone on? Have you taken on directors? I know that you're planning to sort of step back from the CEO role. Have you managed to do any of this sort of stuff, or is it hard to sort of let go of control as such?
Yeah, well, it is hard to let go of control, but in terms of, at one point I was looking at possibly looking at someone else to take over my role. But when you see the amount of money they're asking for, it's just ridiculous. So for that kind of stopped me, and I think that's a good thing, because now I don't think that would be the right decision. So luckily that didn't happen. In terms of investors, we've took on 6 people in the last 6 months who have all taken a very, very small slice, like 1% of the business each. So I still own 92% of the business. But it helped us with some funding for the warehouse, the tech side of the business. But I think we don't really need any investment at the moment, because we're growing we've got 10 stores opening in the next 12 weeks. So we can't really go any faster than we are going already. If anything, should probably slow down a little bit. So we've got stores in Portugal, Dubai, Turkey that are under construction right now.
Can't choose? Why not have everything? Fresh dough, Italian tomato sauce, 100% mozzarella and unlimited toppings. All fast fired from 180 seconds. You can hardly go wrong. Fireaway Pizza, delivered straight to your door. Fireaway Pizza. Design, fire, eat.
And for a 20% discount, use your KRNTV20 discount code. Link in description, guys. And so like I said a minute ago, in terms of maybe you should slow down a little bit. I know that Domino's are quite cautious at this point in terms of having the franchises too close to each other, and
same like Subway as well. I think they've reached...
Subway overexpanded a little bit too quickly,
100%.
Whereas Domino's kept a good control of it. Everyone that I know who's had a Domino's has done really well out of it. Whereas the Subway thing, I've seen a lot of them close down over the years. Like this. Is there a point where you will try to say, obviously nowhere near?
I don't think. We're still. I think we've got 155 stores. Domino's.
How many Domino's?
Domino's, they've got 1,200, so 1,200 stores. So I think realistically we can get to at least maybe 500 to 600 stores in the next 6-7 years.
Indeed. And what's the most difficult thing about being a franchisee in terms of? Is it the people you have the franchise? You have the franchises. Have you had? Obviously, I'm guessing with 155 franchises, you must have had numerous problem ones over the years that you've had to. You do get to take them back off people, and
we've taken back one, and another guy. I think it was the plan from the beginning that he up north, up in Manchester, he decided to open a store with us. But I think, we were getting certain vibes from the beginning that he had an ulterior motive. Anyway, after about a month of opening the store, he was purposely causing problems, and he just said, I'm going to change the name. But everything else in the store remained the same, from the colour scheme to... So I think that was his plan all along. But within 3 months, the shop was for sale. So it didn't go to his plan. So you're obviously always going to get problems. It's kind of hard to know if someone's going to do a good job until you actually let them do it. So 155 stores. We've had one store we've taken back from a guy. We had that guy that changed the name, and then we had one store that just closed down because there was an issue with partners and they just didn't get on. So not bad out of 155 stores.
It's incredible. And I know Domino's, Subway, a lot of these franchises, they take a percentage of the profits. I know initially you weren't doing that, but has that changed over time?
No, we're still not doing it, but maybe in the future. It just means you need to start checking tills, and there's a lot of... For me, I just don't like any headache or minimal headache. So I think the set fee per month is a good model, and You know, it means stores.
That's a great USP for you. You've got higher quality pizza, higher
Yeah.
quality produce, and you don't take any of the profits.
Obviously, we supply the food, innit? So.
Of course. And what is I'm guessing the monthly fee must be quite high. What is the or
£750.
£750? So that's great for.
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable price, but obviously we leave a lot of the marketing down to the stores. The likes of all the other franchises you mentioned, who take maybe 9-10%, that can equate to £4,000 a week that you have to pay the franchisor. So obviously the budget is a lot more opposed to £750 a month, which is why we leave a lot of the marketing control down to the stores themselves, and a lot of them do it as it's an investment. But obviously you're always going to get people that see it as a expense, and I think marketing is an investment. It's not an expense.
Absolutely. And you mentioned obviously the international expansion over the last few years as well. I know you obviously went to France initially, where you sold off the whole of France, didn't you?
Yeah.
And has that sort of model changed? I know Holland you split into sectors, didn't you? The North Holland, South Holland,
India.
India you split into sections as well, have you?
Yeah.
And so is that rather than you having the franchisees, it's easier for you to give the whole of this country because you've got so much going on here. There's so much.
It's I wouldn't be going, as you can imagine, to India every few months. So we found someone. They've actually got stores here as well. They've got family back in India. So we've sold them the country, and now they're basically running with it. We give them obviously the support and everything that they need, but I won't be going to India.
So India, for example, how many stores have they managed to open up there already?
They've only taken the master franchise about 7 months ago, so that is moving quite slow. I mean, Portugal, we sold the master franchise to the guys maybe 3 months ago, and they've already got a store under construction. Dubai, we sold the master franchise to them maybe 2 months ago, and they've got a store under construction. And Turkey, again, was about 2 or 3 months ago, and they've already got a store under construction. We've got a shop in Amsterdam as well, which has been there for about a year, which is doing well. Yeah, obviously it's something new, especially when you go into different countries, different cultures.
So I'm sure it'll work really well if it's in central Amsterdam in terms of the street culture, the food. And,
everyone's hungry there, but it's something different. So it's difficult to see how something will be the response until you obviously try.
Of course. And so like you said, the goal though within England is the 500 stores, around 500 stores or so. And then at that point, there's a certain point where you surely will be looking to take a slight step back. And
100%. I think you have to. I think you have to find a balance. With most things in life, you need to find a balance. Money and business, although I enjoy it a lot, are not the most important things in life, in my opinion. And I think if you focus, solely on that, you might make a lot of money and you might build a successful business. But there's a lot of other parts of life that I think you'll miss out on. Luckily, I like to travel, so I've kind of incorporated travel into the business. I've been places that I never would have been, probably if it wasn't for starting this business. I've met people that I never would have met if it wasn't for starting this business. On the other side, I've been put through a lot of stress with the business. I've got, skin conditions that are brought on by stress. You don't spend as much time with your family and friends as you like to because of the business. Breakdown in relationships. So I think it's important to find that balance between the two.
There's a lot of cost, like you're saying, of having the success that you've had, and a lot of sacrifice that goes into it. And while this has all been going on, you've made an incredible amount of money. Have you been investing in other stuff, sort of silent partner in lots of other businesses, or you just been concentrating on the one thing?
To be honest, I've got a lot of ideas, but it's just finding the time. There's not enough hours in the day. In terms of investment, only recently I invested in 2 companies. Good friends of mine that have started their own business and it's doing well. I haven't invested in it just because they're friends.
Is that in the retail food sector again, or
one of them is a burger brand called Five Ackies.
Heard of it? Yeah.
Up in Milton Keynes, fantastic burgers, and We just help them open their second store. And another company is West Bakes Cookies. So they make cookies and they supply them to restaurants, and they supply them to Faraway as well. So I've helped in terms of that. In terms of investment, in other sort of businesses or in other sorts of paths, not really. I mean, I bought this house. I bought my mama house around the corner.
Absolutely incredible house. Congratulations.
Thank you. But apart from that, nah. I think anything that I invest in, I would want to be involved to a certain degree. And right now, there's not enough time in the day, so therefore, I can't be involved.
Absolutely. Like I said, your time's probably better spent concentrating on what you've got going on.
Yeah,
like I said, it's trying to get up to around 500 stores, and then trying to take a sort of step back,
100%.
and then eventually, would you like to sort of sell it off completely, and then obviously keep a small stake in it?
Yeah, I think keep a small stake, because I'd be very, I'd be pissed off if I sold it and then they done massive things all over the world, and then I'm there left with decent amount of money, but nowhere near what could have been potentially. So I think I'd always want to keep some sort of, even if it's something small like 5%. Yeah, I think it would be sad to get rid of everything.
Absolutely. And what would you say the major secrets to your success is? What you've done so well in order to get yourself to the position you have so quickly in this only 7-year period? Then that you've opened up 155 stores.
I think there's no major secret that no one probably already knows that you haven't heard before, but consistency. Just to keep trying, even if something fails, you don't give up. You just find another way around the obstacle in front of you. Hard work, obviously, common sense is you need hard work. You need to decide how much you want something. I mean, if you really, really want something, you won't be putting in, 2 or 3 hours a day, or even a 9 to 5. You'll be putting in, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. All right, you might not be doing physical work or in front of a computer or in front of a desk, but in some way, shape, or form, you will be working on the business in your mind, which can also cause problems when you're trying to do other things. But you've always got that on your mind. So I think you need to ask yourself before you start something how much you want something, and how much time, I suppose, is the ultimate currency. How much time you're willing to put in, how much time you're willing to sacrifice. Only recently I've got back in the gym, but I remember, before I opened the business, I was in the gym 5 times a week. I was in fantastic shape, and then I realised once I opened the business, I was stressed. I was waking up early. I was going to sleep late. I wasn't getting the right amount of sleep. I wasn't eating properly. I was just eating like rubbish on the move, and you can see the difference. Only recently I've managed to get back in the gym, but you need to make sacrifices. You need to know that you need to struggle. A lot of people message me and they ask for help, advice, etc. And I'm happy to give advice and help, but at the end of the day, you need to struggle to prove that you want it. And not everyone can deal with the stress that struggle brings on.
Absolutely, that's great advice. And so, in terms of anyone who's watching this and want to go down a similar path to yourself, want to work for themselves, want to be an entrepreneur, want to make money. Like I said, obviously there's huge sacrifices. Don't think you're going to be working less than these 8 hours. You're going to be working twice as long in terms of sacrifice, in terms of relationships, stress, everything that comes with it. But what's the best advice you could say to someone in order, if they want to try and own their own business, go on the same path as yourself or someone else?
I think if you're coming from the same place I came from, with minimal amount of resources and next to no money, then you have to start off small. And a lot of people don't want to start off small. They want to go from 0 to 100 overnight, and they want to be turning over millions of pounds within the first year, which is highly unlikely. So you need to be ready to start small. And like I said, a lot of people don't want to be seen as starting off or as a small fish or as an amateur, and telling people, I've started this, can you come and support it? A lot of people, their pride probably gets in the way of asking for support. So you need to start off small. You need to be humble. You need to accept that you're an amateur in the game, so that you can advance and then give advice to other people and help other people. So I think start small. You don't need a crazy product. You need a crazy determination to make the product work, but you don't need to invent. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Something simple, whether it's pizza or t-shirts or personal training or website design. You don't have to create something out of this world, but you do need to have a crazy passion for making that work, and you need to put in the hours, whether that be 6 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. You need to sacrifice holidays, as I said, time with your family, with your friends, and that's it. I think you need to remember that sometimes, unfortunately, people will hold you back and bring you down, and that not necessarily that they want to hold you back and bring you down, but certain people with different mentalities, unfortunately, it can't be helped, and that goes for friends, families, partners, business colleagues. So not everyone that started the journey with you will finish the journey. So I think you need to understand that, because I think a lot of people could get a lot further without certain people around them, which is sad to say, but it's life, I suppose.
Indeed. And so, like you said, you have to be quite sort of ruthless around your circle, the people around you, and obviously I'm sure you've had to cut people off. Your circle's massively changed over the years then.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's part and parcel of growth. If people aren't willing to grow with you at the same time as you, or do something at least positive, it's difficult to be around them, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they say, the 5 people that you spend the most time around. That doesn't mean you cut off everyone else, and as I said, money and business is not, in my opinion, the main purpose of life. So it's not as if you need to cut off everyone that's not money or business orientated, which is definitely, I wouldn't say that. But if you're looking to achieve a goal and you've got a target or an aim or a destination and you want to get there, then obviously you have to surround yourself with the people like-minded that are going to go to at least similar destinations to where you want to get to, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult, and a lot of people, they don't want to do that. They want to hang around the same people, but they want to get to places that other people are getting to. So hard work.
Indeed. And in terms of, if you had anyone sort of mentor or advise you over the last few years that you sort of could go to and just ask that little bit of advice, someone who's a little bit further in the game or anything like this?
I don't know anyone. No.
So it's all sort of everything's been self-taught.
If I had someone, and I said this before, if I had someone that I could go to for advice, as you said, that has gone down the same path, some sort of mentor or something, if I had that, I reckon we would have got to where we are a lot quicker, and we probably would have saved a lot of money, because we wouldn't have made the same mistakes. And you can make back money, but you can't make back the time. So it's not only about the money. Sometimes you make mistakes with the wrong accountants, the wrong solicitors, the wrong website suppliers, and apart from the money side, you'll lose a lot of time, wasted time. So if you go with the right person from day one, I think you'll advance a lot quicker. So I think, especially with the brands that I'm helping now, it's not just about helping them make more money. It's about saving them time and giving them good contacts that I've built up along the years, because that can make a huge difference. But no, the answer to that is no. Unfortunately, I didn't have any mentors, and we've learnt by the mistakes. I think failure and mistakes are feedback, because it teaches you a lesson. If you make the same mistake again, obviously, there's something wrong with you, because you should learn. You should learn from the mistakes that you make.
Absolutely. And in terms of anyone who wants to ask any advice of you, can people reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, they're more than welcome to reach out. But again, I remember when I was starting off and I used to ask people for advice on Instagram and send a message, they would never get back to me. I was thinking, who's this guy? Can't even be bothered to reply. But now I understand there's literally not enough hours in the day.
Especially when you've got over 100 WhatsApp groups.
Yeah, there's not.
Before you start going onto your random messages of strangers on Instagram.
It's just there's not enough time in the day. But in terms of other people that I look up to and see that they've done well in their business, there's a variety. I mean, there's that Ben Francis, who's got Gymshark, and Reese Wabara, who's got the MDV brand. You've got people that are from different industries like music and have gone into totally different industries and are making it work. Like my boy Blade Brown, he's just made a tequila brand,
Incredible,
which I've got a bottle in there, and it's inspiring to see people, regardless of the numbers behind the brand, because like that Gymshark, £1 billion valuation, which is amazing. But not just about that, just to see the journey, regardless, put the numbers aside for a minute and just see how they've come up from, printing T-shirts in their garage.
That's inspiring.
To a worldwide brand. It's crazy. And a lot of people think it's not possible, but that just goes to show that, with an idea and a pen and a paper and a plan, that really anything is achievable. People think that one person can't change the world, but that's probably what's been proven in history, that one guy can make some major changes to the world.
Indeed. Obviously you mentioned those brands there, Gymsharks, etc. But what you've achieved, I think, has been absolutely incredible. So again, I'd like to further congratulate you on what you've achieved so far. I'd like to, especially in just a 7-year period, to open up 155 stores. So again, I'd like to massively thank you for the opportunity again today. Could you tell us your social medias so people can add you up, and guys, it will be in the description below as well.
Yeah, so in terms of joining the franchise or joining Faraway, the website is faraway.co.uk, and the Instagram is Faraway Pizza, and then my personal one is It's Me Mario.
Indeed. And so for anyone who hasn't tried a Faraway Pizza yet, is there a discount code we can give out for anyone? Or?
Yeah, we'll get it made, maybe KRN 20.
Perfect. So guys, that will be in the description as well below.
Yeah.
And so again, I'd like to obviously massively thank you for the opportunity, and hopefully I can come back in a couple of years' time
100%.
and see. Obviously, I can't imagine where you're going to be in 2 years' time. The rate that you grow. So again, massive thank you, massive congratulations.
Thank you,
guys. Add him up to be inspired. Anyone who wants to obviously get into the pizza industry, get on tomorrow. And thank you very much, sir.
No worries. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Can't choose? Why not have everything? Fresh dough, Italian tomato sauce, 100% mozzarella and unlimited toppings? All fast fired from 180 seconds, you can hardly go wrong. Faraway Pizza, delivered straight to your door. Faraway Pizza. Design, fire, eat.
And for a 20% discount, use your KRNTV20 discount code. Link in description, guys.